Blair Smith.
Hamza Khan.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
I've been very excited to catch up with you.
Likewise.
And in thinking about the gift that we're going to get you, my mind was racing. I'm like, what do I get Blair? I have to get him something that he's going to truly nerd out about. So you know how we start every Ideas into Action episode by hooking you up?
Okay.
Look at what we got you. This is Cyclepedia.
Oh, beauty.
100 postcards of iconic bicycles.
Nice.
Now I have to admit, I tried to make this easy for you to open on air, and I accidentally cut a little bit of this, and I cut into the cardboard.
Take it back. You got it for like 50 cents at Home Sense, didn't you? Or 50% off.
Hey. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Actually, I want to see what's in it, so if you wouldn't mind opening it up.
We're going in.
I have been plagued with intrigue while this has been resting on my desk.
So maybe... I wonder if there's going to be a fat bike that we were talking about earlier.
So fat bikes for the listeners are bikes with these massive tires. And Blair was telling me right before we got on air that you can actually ride fat bikes on the snow.
If you want a great site, there you go. So we got some vintage cruisers. Damn. Orange tires.
And for the listeners, we're just scrolling through all of these postcards.
We're just looking at bike postcards and going through a trip down memory lane.
Do you like this, man?
This is great.
I'm so happy. I was so nervous. Amazing. I did not know what to get you. I'm like, what do you get the guy who's got everything? That's a fat bike.
That's a mountain bike. There's some like these. So the fat bike is these bikes with wide tires, and they're great for riding on. They're great for riding on snow. So you can actually go out on cross country ski trails and just go. And the best part about it, you go, it's a different riding experience. And if you wipe out, it doesn't matter because you're on the snow.
Snow.
You go, can I swear on this? You go ass over tea kettle.
All the time.
That's
we swear all the time.
You go over the handlebars and you fall in powder and you're like, this is great.
Did I tell you the story of why I never started biking in Toronto? So when I moved here, I had a bike. I was ready to rock. I thought I was going to just ditch the TTC altogether, not use ride-sharing services, and bike everywhere. I swear to God, the first day I take my bike out, I'm going up Bathurst, and right in front of me, this lady's biking. Her tire gets caught in one of the tracks. Yeah. She spins, falls face forward, plants her face right on the pavement, and teeth everywhere. And I was like, okay, I'm taking the bike, I'm turning back around, and we're never doing this again. I swear to God, for the last 6 years, I have never ridden my bike in Toronto. That has terrified me. I'm sorry to go graphic with that, but geez Louise, in this war right now between cyclists and automobiles, who's winning? Who's winning this great war? Because there's definitely a battle that exists here. I see it all the time. I see whenever cyclists are riding past cars and taxis, especially parked on the side of the road, fingers go up, expletives are thrown out, bells are being rung, and it just seems like it's mayhem out there. It's like the Battle of Winterfell.
It's a tug of war, right? You know, tug of war, and it's like everybody's going back and forth. There's no one's pulled the other team fully over yet. Like as a cyclist, so for you, go to the side streets, avoid streetcar tracks. And you're good. If you need some routes, I will help you out.
Please do. So I'm at Lakeshore and Bathurst, and I think that what I'm seeing now is more and more the city's prioritizing bike lanes. We're seeing them on Lakeshore. We're seeing them, on Queens Quay. We're seeing them on Spadina. I think King's got a dedicated bike lane now.
I think the key is, so find some paths that don't have streetcar tracks. And you've got to get on something that is truly a bike lane. Those painted chevrons in the middle of Bay Street where cars are driving over them, not a bike lane.
Not at all, yeah.
When it's divided from cars, that's much better. But yeah, you know what? Like I don't want to call it a war, but it's a struggle because like everybody needs to get around no matter what your mode is. If it's walking, if it's cycling, if it's scooting, if it's cars. But you got to do yourself favors, right? Cyclists don't do ourselves favors when we don't stop at stop signs or don't signal.
Right.
So like I get that cars get PO'd just the same as when a car is not looking and makes a right turn in front of a cyclist. Like that's not a good move either, but just the same as someone walking across the street, texting somebody or taking a selfie that they have to post. Like, so I don't want to say it's a war, but you just got to be more aware, and maybe the system needs some regulations in place. So that's another. And you've
been heavily involved in the cycling community here in the city. I mean, to say that you're passionate about cycling would be an understatement. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is it true you've got a tattoo of a bike gear?
I have a tattoo of a bike gear on my forearm.
Dude, that is commitment to the cause.
It is. Like I started, it was grade 7. I remember I was in metal shop and my shop teacher came in with a mountain bike and I saw this mountain bike and it was just like, oh my God, it was an awakening. And then from then, so that was grade 7, I got a bike, saved up my paper route money back when paper routes were a thing, and eventually bought a bike. Got it. One of my first jobs after the paper route was working at a bike store. I worked as a bike mechanic for a bunch of years through high school and university. Did some racing, did some riding, and now I commute in the city. I ride for Team Bateman's here in Toronto. So shout out to the Orange Helmet crew.
Shout out to the Orange Helmet crew.
Yeah, so it's many things for me, and I think cycling is. I've cycled in different parts of the world. It's just It's part of my health, my life, my mental and physical, my human well-being.
It's part of what comprises Blair Smith.
100%.
And it feels like that's been a constant in what has been a very storied, consistent career, but with a lot of sort of zigs and zags. Like you've worked in different industries, but the one thing that has remained constant is marketing and communications with an increasing focus on digital and social. So much so that it's now come to a head with your current role as a professor of marketing and digital media at George Brown College. When you think back to some of your earlier jobs, when you think back to maybe when you were at General Mills or even at Evergreen, could you have imagined that this would be the thing that you'd be doing, the thing that you'd be in love with? I mean, I feel like you found bliss with your career.
Yeah. I love how you use the word storied. Going back, I don't know if it would be storied, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
Award-winning Blair Smith.
Yeah. It's I've been fortunate to be a professor at George Brown, teaching, helping. You know what? I don't like the word teaching. Helping people learn and inspire people about marketing and digital media. Been doing that for about 4 years now. I also have a course in digital analytics with the Canadian Marketing Association. CMA. And if you asked me 4 years and 1 month ago if I'd be doing this, wasn't even on the radar.
Really?
And when I was working at Evergreen, I was literally sitting side by side beside my friend who is the PR manager there. And he got a phone call from his friend who is who's the head of continuing education at George Brown College. Said, hey, I need someone to, this was literally the day before we went off on the Christmas holiday in December. Gets the phone call, like, do you know anybody who can teach social media marketing to start in January? And my friend Anthony, he's like, I can't do it. And then he turned over, tapped me on the shoulder, was like, Blair, do you want to teach social media marketing at George Brown? And I said, well, whatever, let me think about it. I went home to my wife that night and said, yeah, Anthony got a call today. And he said, do you want to teach social media in January? And my wife's like, yeah, go and do it. And I said, amazing. All right. So I gave Anthony a call. I said, yeah, sure. Connect me with Jonathan. Talked to Jonathan. Kind of got stressed for 2 weeks of holiday, and then came back in January and walked into the classroom the first night, and it was just like an awakening. So, and then the rest is history. So there was no grand plan. It just happened. I happened to be good at it and enjoyed it.
That's an understatement, man. You're great at it, dude.
Thank you, man. One thing led to another. And I'm now very happy to be a full-time teacher of marketing, coordinator of digital media marketing program. And really it's all about helping people figure out their marketing path. It's a very complicated, confusing industry. Best job in the world. You can't do anything better than marketing. But it's misunderstood and it's big. And how do I help people figure out where they go on that? That's the challenge that's so amazing about it.
I love that. Nothing makes me happier than meeting people and talking to people who have realized fully the thing that they love doing, the thing that doesn't even feel like work anymore, where there's a total flow state, where you're enjoying every single day, waking up, thinking about the problems you're going to solve. And And you found it. One of the most fun teaching experiences I've ever had was actually when we were with Kwaku in RTA 906, and we had the marketing jam session. Do you remember that?
Yeah, for
sure. Just you and I standing at the front of the class being like, hey, stump a prof.
Yep.
And we just handed out cards and people were asking us all kinds of questions. Some of them were as silly as, what are you wearing for Halloween? And others were, what do you think about the state of the internet?
Yep.
Which, let's get into that in just a second. And by the way, I just realized something. Last week we had on Adam Rodrigues. Have you heard of him?
No.
Adam Rodrigues. He teaches at GBC in the School of Con Ed.
Okay.
Marketing professor as well.
Okay.
This is totally unintentional. Back-to-back George Brown College marketing professor segment.
Some good things happening there.
Some good things happening, except love Adam. He spoke a mile a minute. One of the fastest talkers I've ever met. And that was the shortest episode we've ever done here. Like Mahfouz Chaudhry was 1 hour and 44 minutes. Then? That's what I'm thinking, man. If you got time, like we got the studio till 10. Let's bang out a long episode here, right? And plus, the Raps aren't playing tonight, so you know we're chilling here. But shout out to Adam. We'll get you back on. But let's take a deep dive into some of the things that I wish, and we'll do for season 2. Maybe we'll bring all 3 of us in the room together and have a triple marketing jam session. Might get Bhupesh from Seneca, and let's just rock it out. I'd love to get your takes on a couple of things happening right now in the world of the internet. So the first one is the call for Facebook to be broken up. Do you hear about this?
Yep, for sure.
What are your thoughts on that? Where do you stand on it?
Oh man, that's a big question.
And I guess, first of all, if you don't mind me just saying for the listeners real quick, legislators are calling for Facebook to be split up. They think it's too big right now. They think they have too much influence. They've grown into this massive corporation that has transcended corporation status. Mm-hmm. They're now part of the fabric of America, part of the fabric of the world, really. And that's very true. But their counter to that, Mark Zuckerberg's counter to that, is we are an American company, not unlike GM or Chevy or General Mills. Like, why are we suddenly being treated differently? This doesn't really happen with other companies. It happens with monopolies that are very clearly defined, but this is something else.
It is something else. Yeah, I think it would be anti-competitive if you broke them up. It doesn't support the entrepreneurial spirit. So I don't believe that they should be broken up. Maybe there needs to be some regulation. Like, it's a different thing. It's like nothing we've ever seen before, right? So that's the challenge. They've got all this. It's not just data, but it's like Facebook is the biggest source of individual personal data on a one-to-one basis. That is the challenge, and the fact that it's democratized communication. It's given the voice to the extremes on all sides.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think part of the debate is coming in. It's not just the power, but it's the platform that has allowed everybody to come out of the woodwork. So I think I don't know the answer, but I think breaking it up would be anti-competitive and would be against what the spirit of the free market economy is. I'm not going to talk about that's the whole other topics about what you believe in and support and everything, but
I'm for regulation with Facebook. I don't know about breaking up. So as soon as that story broke, I was just puzzled. I was trying to think about what this would look like, how the world would be different, how this would affect elections, how this would affect democracy. And so what I did, because I was stupefied, I just watched The Social Network again. It's been a while since I watched it. 10 years old, by the way. Aged really well. It actually gets better on, I don't know what viewing I'm on right now, but just shout out to Aaron Sorkin. Just quippy dialogue.
I'm going to put that back on my watch list,
But there's one dialogue that'll just make you pause and be like, huh. So there's one scene where they're talking at the dinner table with Justin Timberlake's character, Sean Parker, and they're arguing, Eduardo Saverin and Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark says, we don't even know what this thing is. We don't know if it's a party. We don't know if it's a company. Let's still figure this out. Let's stop trying to monetize it. Let's stop trying to introduce a business model into it. I would say that was as true in 2004 as it is now. Facebook is becoming something else. To call it a social network would be extremely limiting. It's become a Rolodex. It's become a communication medium. I mean, it's always been a medium, but what kind of medium is it?
Well, it's like they're fully, just recently they've changed it where it's now like group first. They're going back to your groups, and less like it's a place for groups and communities, but at the same time they're making money hand over fist as a one-way advertising channel. It's a place to still catch up with your friends, and like it's I don't know if one of the challenges is it's moving quicker than maybe other types of companies. Like they're changing on a dime.
Right, and the thought leaders just aren't able to keep up with the changes on it, on just technologically speaking, with the platform and how users are using it. By the time that they're able to formulate a thought about how this is affecting people on any level, psychological, mental health, physiological even, the platform's already changed. And just thinking about the second story I want to bring up, Instagram recently removed like counts as an experiment here in Canada. What are your thoughts on that?
So that's playing into I guess the dopamine hit, right? It's you see this and that's social validation. But it's funny. It's like they're trying to. It's like these big platforms are constant. They're still A/B testing little things, right? They've made these big changes and now, or they've created big impact, and it's all these little A/B tests. To get rid of the like count, that's what part of this whole is part of the psychology of social media. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's a good thing on the surface? Yeah, but when
you put your marketing hat on,
it might be too little too. From a marketing perspective,
it's making it less addictive.
It's making it less addictive. It might still encourage people to utilize it more naturally. Uh-huh. As a marketer, I want to be where my audience is. As a marketer, I also want to know engagement is an important part of it. So if I'm getting one less metric on engagement, I'm probably not happy about that.
Right.
This is the thing with marketing in the space. One thing I always talk to my students, like, hey, we got to always be doing this dance. You're wearing your marketer hat and your user hat, especially your social media user hat. So user perspective, I think it's a good thing, but for those of us who are in it right now, is it going to change? Is it going to impact us? Is it going to change the psychological?
I hope so. I hope it's
contract, or I don't want to say damage, but what we expect out of it.
I'm excited for what results this experiment will yield. My suspicion is that people who have felt like they were on the periphery of influence on social media will no longer have that pressure looming over them. I think there was a time where influencers were reigning supreme, and that bubble burst, certainly, I would say 2 years ago with the Lucas Sabat case and the spectacle. Mm-hmm. So that story was like he was paid a gross amount of money to promote spectacles, the stupid Snapchat glasses, and he failed to live up to his contract, and then it really sort of exposed what was wrong with the mega influencer economy. And then we talked about micro influencers, and now what's happening with Instagram is making the platform more accessible for people who have something worth saying, people who want to just share their story, but were too afraid to do that because they didn't get enough likes to justify in a vain way that they were important. These are the people who are posting and getting maybe 10 likes or 30 likes, mm-hmm. or I don't know if that's even low anymore. I think that there's some high school students who would say that getting 150 likes is too low. But all that bullshit's gone now with this experiment. Just tell your story, get it out there, express yourself. You owe it not just to the people that are in the community who want to hear from you, who are spending now 12 to 18 hours a day online, but you owe it to yourself.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, all the different platforms have some form of liking in them. So Instagram is just one thing. If you're more visual based, and maybe for certain industries, but you've got YouTube. Right, you
mm-hmm.
can thumb up or thumb down. Are they going to change that? Like if you're doing a video, something video based, something long form, that's whatever. Mm-hmm. So are we going to get rid of the whole likes across the board? Because I think it's an interesting test, but you're not truly solving the problem universally.
I hear you. What are your thoughts on this quote? So Tim Berners-Lee, the father of the internet, was quoted in an interview with Vanity Fair as saying, "We demonstrated that the web had failed instead of served humanity, as it was supposed to have done, and failed in many places. The increasing centralization of the web has ended up producing, with no deliberate action of the people who designed the platform, a large-scale emergent phenomenon which is anti-human." So in other words, Tim Berners-Lee thinks that we've strayed far from the course. Mm-hmm. What social media was supposed to be. And I remember, a time when social media was just starting out, where we started to see it really come together. 2004 to 2007, there's a lot of promise. we thought this was going to make the world much more collaborative, much more open, much more empathetic. But I think what we're seeing now is evidenced by the populism that's sweeping all over the world. I mean, with the United States, right here in our own backyard in Ontario, certainly in India, people are getting more insular, more tribal almost. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but they're getting lost in their filter bubbles. And you're starting to see some of that rage that you alluded to earlier, where people on opposite ends of the spectrum are now able to say their piece, but with increasing vehemence. Do you think, sorry, that's a long-winded question.
No,
the question is, do you agree with Tim, first of all?
So I think you use the word tribal. I think social media the intent of social media was always to connect people. The intent of the internet was to connect people who might not otherwise be connected.
True.
It connected other parts of the world. So me, if I'm the interested cyclist and I want to connect with other cyclists in other parts of the world, this internet made it much easier for me to do that. So from that perspective, I think it's great. The challenge is it allows anybody with any interest and any belief to connect. So
flat earthers, man.
So
anti-vaxxers.
So you can now bring some of these messages together at scale, which is there's always a double-edged sword to everything you do.
Yeah.
No, so it brought everybody out of the woodwork. So the internet, I don't think it's failed. I think it's lived up to what its promise was, but maybe we saw it through rose-colored glasses and didn't expect the extremes to have such influence. And on the part of the social networks, they were kind of a hyper version of this, where it was all about two-way conversation with these groups fueled by the internet.
Right.
So now it's easy for me to post and share content and like and comment and everything in a very public way. Same with all of and some people might think my cycling views are extreme, and that's fine, right? So like everybody now has a seat at the table. Some of the challenge with the social networks is they were created as places for people to communicate in a organic way. Then they figured out people are hanging out here and we need to make money.
Yeah.
And the model was not built on, that was not the business, and the business thrown onto it, like how you would look at media traditionally, was an advertising-based model. It was all organic content,
exactly.
And now we need to slice off a part for advertising.
Yeah.
And then advertisers reign supreme and
almost compromise the integrity of the network to a certain extent.
For sure, it's not
made it less fun. It was like the adults came to the party, right?
Well, there's a fantastic video, Gary Vaynerchuk, who you might know.
Yes.
Crush it. Your listeners would know for sure.
Jab, right hook. Yeah.
Like a fantastic guy, and I love early Gary V when he was a content marketing guy. I love that, and I still go back to some of his videos. And there's a classic one I show at the start of every social media marketing course. It's called "Marketers Ruin Everything," and he's using the metaphor of this cat and mouse game of these social and it's not from it didn't start at Facebook. It started with like the original tablet when we were chiseling on tablets, like the dawn of time. Media is created. People go and congregate in these spaces. Marketers want to connect with these people who congregate in spaces, so they muscle their way in by advertising. They ruin that space. People go to the next space. Yep. Marketers follow, and it's this cat and mouse game of marketers ruining everything. So this is where the internet is not bad. Social media is not bad, but you're layering in this need for Facebook, for Instagram, for whatever, Snapchat, LinkedIn, to be a viable business model. And if you're not going to charge you and me, you got to make the money somewhere.
This is really interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about so much as you're saying this, and it's making me really wish that I was in your classroom. And we got to do another exchange program in the semester where I got to come. We got to trade classes, do a jam session. But you and I, when we stand in front of the room, we're both young at heart, but we got some gray in our beard, right? And
I think more than you. I've got a few years.
You rock it. I've got some sporadic grays over here. I need the salt and pepper that you're rocking right now. This just looks like I'm uncoordinated, man. But I would say this, like I stood in front of my class at the beginning of the semester and I looked at the room and I said, there's a good chance that most of you in the room are more technically proficient when it comes to social media than I am. You probably have more followers, more engagement than I am. You're digital natives for longer than I've been on the internet. Or hours spent, you've probably caught up and outpaced me. But this is where I want to hear what your answer is. When somebody says, why should Blair Smith be the one standing up at the front of the classroom? What would your answer be to this young cohort of students? And I shouldn't just assume that all of them are young. I mean, a lot of them are mature students as well. But what would you say to a generation that says, hey, but you are from a different generation, Blair. You're one or two generations out. Yeah. You're 1 or 2 generations out. What can you teach me that I don't already know?
So it's all about, I'm there to help them think about it and to help them question and learn how to use social media and teach me. So yes. It's not about, I think this is one of I talk to other faculty who teach social media. I look at the forums and I think there's always this, there's this myth, this belief that I need to be the expert. I need to know exactly what's happening with Facebook and I need to teach you about it. And it's like, no, like 40 heads are better than one.
Yeah.
So I'm there to help you. I'm there to help you apply the marketing thinking. And there's some fundamental bedrock social media is always changing. Well, yeah, social media is changing, but marketing is not.
And even changing. Deeper than that, communication.
Yeah, there's some fundamental elements. Yeah. So that's my like North Star. That's what I put my stake in. And the rest of it is we're going to use 40 brains to talk about it and we're going to learn about it. And it's not black and white. There's no right answers in this class. So you're going to have to be comfortable with that because we're going to, and you're going to have to, we're going to have to talk about how do you use it? What do you think? And then I'm going to push you to think about it from a marketing perspective. So I'm not there to be there. There's a quote that gets passed around education circles. It's either being the sage on the stage or the guide on the side. I'm not there to be the sage on the stage. I'm there to be the guide.
Right.
To help to really be it's all about learning. One thing is I feel, thank you for calling me a professor. I technically have that title on my business card, but every time I hear it, I get a reaction because I don't profess anything. I profess that marketing is the best job in the world.
Yes, amen.
But I don't profess things. It's like I'm a designer of learning experiences because we are going to learn together, and that's fundamental to this. And I've been given the opportunity to introduce it at the start of the class, but we're all going to get in it and it's all messy.
Wait, you're going to love this quote. When one person teaches, 2 people learn. Yeah. And I credit you. In fact, I quote you by name in my teaching philosophy statement that I have to reapply at Ryerson every single year. It's so weird. When you're a sessional instructor, people assume that you just keep on getting the gigs. Now I have to keep on applying for the same job over and over again. Yeah. It's kind of like Groundhog Day, man. But I say that what Blair Smith has done for me is I remember when I took my curriculum to you, we were sitting outside What a Bagel, and you generously offered your time and your expertise, and you offered a really fair critique of my curriculum, and you said, this is very one-directional. You need to practice a flipped learning approach, a flipped classroom approach, where you do exactly what you said. You utilize the 40 or however many brains are in the room to have jam sessions, to be more collaborative, for them to talk to each other, for you to give them things, to give the students things to think about so that they come to class and they're not just hearing a one-way didactic delivery of content. And what I've even done with my classes, I've stopped showing videos in class. I'm like, hey, you can just access this on your own time. Come back with questions, come back with discussions. Let's make the best use of the 3 hours that we have because, man, you and I are both speakers. We know it is really hard to hold the attention of anyone for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
3 hours, it doesn't matter if I'm juggling on stage. Yeah. You're gonna tune out.
Well, you know what? It's funny, like this is fundamental to the challenge. This is like the burden that I now bear is inspiring people to learn marketing. And yeah, it's like it's getting into the nuances of videos. It's not value-added time for us all to be sitting there for 5 minutes watching that video. You watch that on your own time, and then we talk about it, or if there's something you didn't understand, or we go to that next level. And then even with I'm gonna use another word that I don't like, and I'm gonna get on a bit of a pedestal, the word lecture, because that's so tied up in the word professor. And when I think of the word lecture, I think of a TED Talk that you design and deliver. It's an experience, and that's the standard I hold a lecture to.
Mm-hmm. I would agree,
challenge
100%.
is every single week, you can't pull off a TED Talk every single week. And if you look at most university professors and what they actually put on their, it's a horrific presentation.
Oh God, most of the time they're just reading off paper.
It's paragraphs of slides. It adds no value. So I'm like, look, until I can deliver TED Talk quality stuff, I'm not lecturing.
Yeah.
I will throw out, and I'm kind of taking a minimal classroom approach. I had last semester, I tried one. It was a simple equation, a calculation. It was an analytics course, and we had one equation. Literally, it was this much. You can't. It was a small piece on
like a ruler sized,
like a paragraph on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And that sparked 2.5 hours of conversation.
Wow.
So this idea of the jam session, the in-class time is a great place to jam, not have a produced performance. The jam is where learning happens and everybody's involved versus the produced me to you, which is not, it's right in certain circumstances, but not for the entire semester of a course.
I would agree with that. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait until we have our next collaboration, the next Blair Smith featuring Hamza, or Hamza featuring Blair Smith.
For
Man,
sure.
We'll get it done. Speaking of produced, man, do you want to lean into the dark side of social media and dark side of marketing a little bit?
Absolutely.
With our little Hamlet-esque halo skull over
sure.
here. You're probably wondering what the skull was about.
I was.
But you've read the briefing notes and you know that this is all about a game, right?
Yep, I'm ready.
I got a fun game plan for us.
Okay.
Have you played Heads Up before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the rules for Heads Up?
Yep.
Fantastic. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes each. And basically, we're going to start with buzzwords. And so let's just do an example of this for the listeners, right? I have this over here. You basically have to get me to guess what this word is without actually saying any of the words here.
Okay.
So let's practice this one round real quick for the listeners.
2 letters.
You mean 2 words?
2
2 letters.
2 words, short form, 2 vowels. Oh gosh,
This is tough, eh?
this is a tough one.
I think the trick is just use synonyms.
Yeah. Unreal stupidity. God, I'm bad.
I think you use antonyms right there. So that would be artificial intelligence.
Yes, thank you.
There
I'm
we
not
go.
an English professor. I'm a marketing prof. Thanks, buddy.
It's all good. So this was a nice
Artificial
warm-up round.
intelligence, yeah.
What I'll do is I'll set a 2-minute timer over here and basically...
Now it's like now all the answers are coming into my head.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Should I go first?
No, hit me up.
Okay, all right.
I'll go again.
Let's do this. So we'll do a 2-minute timer, and basically whoever has the most stickies at the end wins.
Okay, so
So you're going to hold on to this, so don't look at what you have over here. I have to make you guess what these words are, and basically when they're done, peel them off, put them on your leg, and you're going to collect.
Okay.
All right, so this is Marketing Buzzwords Heads Up with Blair Smith. 3, 2, 1, let's go. The initials for this 2-letter term are AR.
Augmented reality.
Boom. My Apple Watch is one of these.
Wearable.
Boom. $billion businesses are referred to as this mythical creature.
Unicorns.
Boom. Oh, you're on fire, man. Wait, these are my points.
Oh, those are yours?
Oh, no, this is good. Keep it going. Keep it going. Don't sabotage me. Gary Vee is one of these.
Influencer.
Very close. This is somebody who publishes blogs and has...
Thought leader.
Boom. You got it. You're rocking this. I forgot about these. Marketers refer to themselves as this instead of marketers.
Strategists.
Think about sitting around a campfire and exchanging. What are you exchanging?
Bullshit.
Let's pass on this one. I was struggling. The things that you get on Google Analytics.
Metrics.
Another word for metrics. Units of
KPIs.
measurement. What are units of measurement? It's 4-letter word. And it's the opposite of small.
Data.
But what kind of data? Not small data.
Big data.
Big data. Boom. Very good. Oh, you're on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Why do I keep on saying it's you? How much time do we have? 34 seconds. Oh, fuck. On Facebook right now, these are very popular. Brands are using them so that
Stories.
So that people don't have to talk with you anymore.
Chatbot.
Chatbots. Boom. Okay. This is the sort of platforms where things disappear. What is the category of them?
Stories, highlights.
Snapchat's an example of this. This is a place where marketers can't find any data. It's the opposite of bright.
Dark.
Yes.
Web.
And so close. Dark social.
Dark social.
Oh man. Thank you so much. You hooked me up. You were on fire. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points.
Okay.
And I messed up on storytelling and dark social.
Oh. All right.
All right. Now it's my turn to hook you up. So can I grab my stickies?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I thought I was getting the points for being the guesser. All right.
No. So now you're gonna
The
get
describer.
the
Yeah.
Okay. So you basically have to beat 6.
6.
All right.
Okay.
So is that correct? Is it upright?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So here we go. Your 2 minutes are beginning, Blair, and I will do my best to answer them starting now.
When I give you a wedding ring, it's called
Engagement.
Yes. There are celebrity, macro, and micro
Influencers.
Yeah. When something is easy to reach on a tree, it's called
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Gary Vee is all about and it's a dance from the 70s. There's a culture to entrepreneurs always talk about the
hustle.
Yeah.
Boom.
When trying to make an experience more fun to play, it's called
Gamify.
Yeah, gamification.
Gamification.
When a blogger promotes products on their site, someone clicks and buys it, they get a small percentage of the revenue. It's a type of this topic we're talking about. 2 words.
Marketing. It's about marketing.
Second word is that. First word is pass.
Oh, pass. Okay.
Can I?
Fuck. Affiliate marketing.
When you share, when you create some content that goes crazy. BuzzFeed was great.
Viral.
At it. Yeah. Mill Street makes a delicious beer like this. Also content that is unpaid. It's known as
organic.
Yeah.
Mill Street. I should have just got it with right. Dude, you crushed me. What the hell?
Marketing technology is promising this when we segment our customers and we can communicate them in a more
personal.
The longer form version of that.
Personalize.
Personalization.
Sure.
Yeah.
Boom.
What everybody wants to do, but nobody truly understands what it actually is.
Oh shit.
When lots of industries are talked about
being what is it?
Disrupted.
Dude, you swept house, man. What the hell? This wasn't even fair. All right, Siri, hold on 1 second.
That was
great.
Dude,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You crushed me by 2, so it wasn't that close. So, way to go, sir. But hold on.
Yep.
There's another round.
There's another round.
There's a bonus
right.
round. We had to bring out 2 games for this. So I'm 6, you're 8.
All right.
Congratulations. This next round is going to be a little tougher.
Okay.
So these ones are worth 2 points each.
Okay.
Aha.
You're doing the math on this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
so I have to get 1 more of these to tie you and 2 more of these to beat you. So let's just do a test run. So that was marketing buzzwords. This is marketing phrases. And how this works is you're going to see a line underneath a word on this phrase.
Okay.
You can't tell me anything other than repeating what this phrase is, but you have to replace the word that's underlined with the word something. So just go ahead and say that, but replace the word that's underlined with something.
Something is the new oil.
So I would say data.
Yeah.
And if I get that, point for me.
Okay.
Ready? So we're going to make this even tighter. It's only going to be 1 minute now.
Okay.
And so these are common marketing phrases.
Am I describing for you right now?
You know what? Let's flip it.
Go back.
Let's flip it. So you hang on to that. All right. So this is marketing cliche phrases heads up with Blair. 1 minute to go for you, and then I go right after this for the tiebreaker, starting now. Open the something.
Door. Marketing. Open the email.
I can't give you the answer. I can't say anything else, so you can pass.
Open the wallet.
No.
Pass.
It was kimono.
Come on, that dude.
Fail something.
Fail faster.
Yep. Oh, damn, this is tight. Bright, shiny something.
Bright, shiny object.
Boom, you got it. Oh, wait, this is me. Content is something.
King. Queen.
Yep. King, got it.
Distribution is queen.
Distribution is. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you got
is
that.
That distribution
Yep,
queen?
yeah,
That's I'm also a mind reader.
Low-hanging
fruit.
Oh, damn. Dude, you're on fire with these. This is not even fair. So these are actually your points. Yep. Surprise and something customers.
Surprise and delight.
Yep. Oh, damn it. I'm getting murked here. Hit the something running.
Ground.
Oh, just clutch. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 12 points now. God damn it.
So what, you need 3 more points?
Yeah, I'm going to have to get 6 of those. I'm going to have to get 8 of these to win. Oh, boy. All right. Hamza.
You can do it.
You can do this. If I get 8 of these, I win. If I get less than 8,
all right,
I'm
going
done.
to count to 7. That's all
all
I
right,
got in
3, 2, 1, boom.
Think outside the something.
Box. 1.
The customer journey is something.
Complicated.
Nope.
Complex. The customer journey is... pass.
Okay.
Oh, fragmented. Fuck.
Break down
Silos.
something. Yep. Move the something.
Needle.
Yep. Let's touch something.
Oh, base. These are great, man.
Guru ninja
Wizard.
something. Nope.
Rockstar. Rockstar.
Yes.
That's all my favorite, man. I forgot about
Take
these.
it something.
Slow.
Nope. Take it somewhere.
Take it offline.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got 2 more to go.
SE. Oh, next. I said the
next.
word.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Fully something marketing strategy.
Oh no!
I should
What
have
is
done
it?
this.
Integrated. Oh, and there were 2 more left. Boiled a frog and fully integrated marketing. Oh, dude,
Classic.
good game, man.
Yeah, that was good.
Wait, that was fun, man.
That was fun. That was a good game.
Doesn't it make you realize just how silly the industry can be at times, man?
Yeah, there's a lot of buzzwords in there. I don't even know what just happened. I don't know what any of those things mean, except for storytelling. I believe in that.
Totally, man. Congratulations, dude. Let's get into now some productivity chat, man. We've talked a lot about marketing and social media, and I love this. I love it when we can nerd out. This reminds me of one of my favorite episodes that we did with Herbert Louis, where we spent the first hour and a half just talking about Kanye. And I had to give a disclaimer. I'm like, if you want to get to the stuff that you came for, the productivity listeners, just skip to the halfway mark. And so I know we have a lot of marketing communications, social media, PR professionals, and I think this is going to be a real treat for them. And if you're still with us, thank you so much. We're going to get right now into some productivity chat with Blair Smith. So we're going to talk about how you manage and optimize 3 things: your time, your energy, and your attention. And I'm really excited to chat with you about this because we've never talked about this at all.
No, we haven't.
So I really want to sort of open the kimono
yes,
and understand what's happening over there, man.
Yeah.
Really problematic phrase, by the way, man. We should probably not use that. Yeah, open the kimono. That's wrong on so many levels, man. Let's start with time, man.
Yeah.
So you are an INTP on the Myers-Briggs scale. What does that mean?
You know what? I know the I part is introvert.
Introverted.
And then the other intuition, thoughtful. I forget what it all means, but fundamentally,
what's the essence? Yeah.
What it means is there's only 3% of the population that's like me.
Wow.
So I think it's the smallest of the personality groups, and I think it's also thus slightly misunderstood. So depending on what you read, the INTP is described as a innovation architect, a dreamy professor. I don't know what that's all about, but I'll take that.
I'm liking the shirt.
Thank you. Or the secret weapon. So it's this interesting place of being analytic, being forward thinking, but saying few things, but when spoken, there's usually weight behind those thoughts and those words.
And is it safe to say that the thinking that goes into that is very slow and deep and methodical?
In a lot of cases, yeah, but in some cases, it's just being able to cut through a lot of the noise. But yeah, there's definitely an element of thinking of considering the different possibilities in there for sure.
What are some of your strategies for creating the capacity to read and think and reflect? Because in order to produce the sort of engaging content that you do, whether it's with a CMA or George Brown for your personal brand, I know as a fellow marketer that a lot of work has to go into the production of that. And the only way it's going to be good is if you actually take the time to sink your teeth into material and truly understand it and develop some wisdom and actionable insights. How do you, with all the things you've got going on right now, first of all, make time and make the capacity for deep learning?
So there's a few things. One, you can't make time. We literally only have 24 hours in the day.
Yes.
So there's
slice, steal.
Yeah, how you allocate time. But
rescue.
one of the benefits to the work that I get to do is part of my whatever hour work week. Let's just for argument's sake say my 40-hour work week. Part of that includes time to do this. I'm not in the classroom for 40 hours. I get time for prep. It's baked into what I'm supposed to be doing. So I would consider a luxury to be able to bring my INTP-ness in.
That's the thing, yeah, INTP-ness.
My INTP-ness.
Oh.
That's going to get cut out.
No. We got to veto that one. We're keeping that one. What do you bring to your classroom, Blair?
That's an example of my thoughtful self, right? It's like thinking even in the moment of bringing of being able to
your INTP qualities.
Bring my INTP qualities into the classroom. So right. So part of it is just that my biggest challenge is, on the flip side of that, having the time is time boxing and time limiting when I've like ground something too much. I sometimes need to pull myself out of my thoughts and go, okay, now you've spent too much time on that. Mm-hmm. So naturally it's just part of my day to day. So I'm fortunate enough where I don't feel stressed that I have to create time for that.
Does your stress increase as you get closer to deadlines? Or are you the sort of person that just feels like, you kind of glide towards them? Because I know people on both sides.
No, it's funny. Now my stress increases always at for sure the start of every semester. Going in, your meeting, there's a lot of administrative work that needs to go into the start of a semester, and then just you're meeting a lot of people for the first time, and it's all the stuff that we think about. Will they like me? Will they learn from me? Will they get what they want? There's a lot of that going in. It's an intensely personal thing that I do. Right on. So I get a lot of stress based on start of the semester. You know what? There's stress around grading. Everybody thinks that they're an A student.
Yeah.
I don't mark on curves. I don't. It's you earn what you get, but like. A B is meeting expectations, and an A is exceeding them, and everybody thinks they're exceeding expectations. And anytime I put in a mark that's less than an A, it's like someone's going to question it. Absolutely. If it's a C, no doubt. Where did you take away marks? It's like, I didn't take away anything. You just didn't demonstrate the effort to meet expectations. Yeah. So I get stress around those things. And I think inevitably we all, maybe I shouldn't say we all, but I think there's a little bit of procrastination in there. So it's like, oh yeah, I've got 2 weeks to get something done. Oh, yeah, I've got a week to get something done. And you kind of make some progress. But then it's like, oh yeah, that's due tomorrow. So some of those points come up at times, despite the best. It's like you're working on a deck, right? You work on your, say, a TED Talk.
Sure, yeah.
Don't tell me you're not looking at it the night before you're delivering
100%.
it.
Sometimes the day of.
Yeah,
which is like a rule that I try not to do.
It's hard, right?
Don't look at it the day of. But my last talk, I was super nervous. I was looking at it on the Uber ride to the venue. I'm like, why am I doing this? Because my stress was commensurate with the size of the opportunity.
Yeah. So deadline. So there's different points, different deadlines. I think it's probably normal. We all have stress in those types of ways.
Absolutely. And I think that we get to a place in life as we progress where the stress becomes less de-stress, which is the bad kind of stress, the stress that sort of disrupts your equilibrium. And we move to a place where it's good stress, the eustress, which is a stress that is like the precursor to the thing that we love doing and the outcomes that we desire. Switching gears and talking about energy a little bit. You've got a beautiful family, Blair. Your family is an oasis for you. They're a source of happiness and joy, and they replenish you. Are there any rituals that you have together as a family that you look forward to, that you say, this thing that we're going to do together, even if it's just a small interaction that you have with your daughter, for instance, that you're intentional about, that gives you energy? What are some of those things that happen on a regular basis?
The one specific thing that we try to do is eat dinner together.
So good. Underrated, man. Underrated.
So yeah, and we're fortunate enough with the work that we do. There's a fair amount of flexibility in it that we can manage the 24 hours in our day to align to these things that both my wife and I that we need. So that one specific thing is dinner together.
And that's inflexible. Nothing moves for that.
I don't want to say it's inflexible, but say
it's got to be a good reason. Yeah.
In a 7-day week, we eat dinner together more than half the time.
Oh wow!
So it's pretty solid, and I think because we get a chance to do it. I don't have data on it more often than maybe other people. It's easy enough to say, oh, hey, I've got to take off at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. to go do something tonight.
Absolutely.
But that dinner thing is one of the bedrocks for that family base of energy.
I love that. That's such an important thing to have. And yes, it can be flexible, but it should be as non-negotiable as possible, so that you can tell people that this is something that you have to adjust around. Like, this is something that is essential to my functioning as Blair. For me, that's like waking up at a certain time in the morning, going to the gym, making sure that I've carved out time for lunch, for instance, and letting people know that want to book me for 12 p.m. Like, hey, so is this going to be a lunch meeting? And that's my usual retort to them whenever they try to book me for that particular slot. So I suggest that we should be eating during this time. Yep. Otherwise, if you let things slip in your calendar, then it becomes a slippery slope. Eventually, your calendar begins to manage you versus the other way around.
Yeah.
And when it comes to attention, the last piece of the performance point, like, what are your rules for deciding whether or not something goes into your calendar? So I reached out to you. I'm like, hey, Blair, you want to jump on the podcast? And you very generously accepted the offer. And this now entered into your calendar. What are your rules for deciding whether or not to accept an invitation or to move a piece of work or a priority and convert it from an email or a text message into a calendar block?
So any email I get from Hamza is in the calendar.
Hey, man. Thank you. Likewise, man.
For sure. But there's a lot of, you know what? There's the one biggest challenge is the hey, can you meet for coffee? I want to sort out my career in marketing, or conversations like that. And that's the tricky thing to manage, because I'm very flattered to be in a position that people want to hear about that. Yeah. But I could literally be kind of having these types of coffees on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I've done is I try to shift it from an in-person coffee to a phone call or an online meeting that saves travel time, because that's a big thing, right? You go somewhere and it's at least 30 minutes to an hour on either side of that.
Easily.
Maybe you're traveling, you might have to, it's going to disrupt your flow.
Yeah.
So I try to spin those coffee meetings into a phone call or an online meeting that I don't have to commute to. That's probably the quickest way to meet that type of demand.
Do you use Calendly?
I don't. You know it's funny. I was listening to one of your earlier podcasts. Yeah. It's great hearing other people's tips for productivity, and I think you were talking about how you've tried all of these different project management apps and calendar apps, and you go to a journal. And I've actually I'm similar. I've tried those. I've tried the task management apps, and recently I started I started bullet journaling. Again, I think this is a topic you've heard of on your
I think
on your
Lauren
podcast.
talked about this on her podcast. Yeah.
And
Shout out to Lauren.
it's a great tool that that I use to manage my dates, and I'm a writer. I like putting pen to paper. So that's what I use to really manage my days is a paper-based journal. Because a lot of stuff people send, like I get lots of Outlook invites and meeting requests that I don't control or Calendly doesn't work great for. So those fill up, and then I use I kind of look at that, but then I write in my journal, and whatever's the gap, that's how I solve my time. So I use my journal. Right. My journal is my bedrock of
no, for sure, man.
productivity.
I've got mine right here, the productivity journal, the productivity planner, which is the one that I use. But the reason I bring up Calendly is to triage those requests that you get for coffee meetings all the time. So this morning I met with one of your mentees, Ashley. Fantastic conversation. But when she reached out to me on LinkedIn, what I've done is I've got this down to an art now. I've minimized the back and forth about when are you free? When are you free? Where do you want to meet? What I kind of do right now is if somebody's reached out to me, I just assume that the dynamic of that relationship is such that they're going to come to meet me, which is a bit of a dickish thing to say, but given how busy we are, we just have to be like, hey, this is an option. The first option that I give is, do you want to Skype, call? If you want to meet in person, I'm so sorry, I'm sandwiched between meetings, but it's got to be on my turf. So she was very gracious. She came all the way down to Starbucks over here. But what I did, sent her the Calendly link. And now here's the interesting thing about Calendly. You can actually hide some of the calendars. So the only ones that I have available for public facing, for people that I'm meeting for the first time, is during the workday. But if it's friends, then I open up weekends and evenings and like the lunch coveted brunch spots and all of that. But for Ashley, I'm like, here's the Calendly link. And I found the phrase that works because I was really apprehensive about this early in my career. I would send people Calendly and be like, book a time. And then it'd be like, what the fuck? I'm not your assistant. You book me a time, please. Or let's find a mutual time. But now what I say is, hey, you know what I've done, Ashley? I've compiled all of my availabilities for you over here. Take a look and find something that works with your schedule. Yeah. Slight change of hand over there. Yeah. But she was like, oh, this is very flattering. You've made this very easy for me. But really, no, Ashley, you've made it very easy for me. And my rules are such that you can't book me more than a week in advance. So I actually never get like thrown off when the week starts. I like the sense of permanence of my calendar that I'm like, I can telegraph the entire week and know that nothing's going to be random here. And that you only book me for slots that I have to open up. So the week before I go like, I'm going to open up this lunch, that coffee, this lunch, that coffee. And suddenly now Calendly's become this blessing that just conveniently slots people in where I'm not going to experience maximum energy expenditure. So I was on for that meeting with Ashley, but that was the only other meeting I had other than meeting you today. Okay. So I guarded my energy. I might have to. Did I sell you? Yeah, I might have to jump back. I might have to jump back in and give it a try for sure. That's it. Yeah. Blair, how about we transition into the rapid fire round now? Okay. These are 10 bespoke questions just for you. Now, some of them are fan favorites. We've asked these questions of other guests, but some of them have been tailored specifically to you. And I've thrown one or two curveballs in there as well. So we try to get you going on a certain line, and then boom, we switch up the question on you. So these are 10 questions, and the trick here, obviously, with rapid fire is to answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Ready to rock, sir? Yes, sir. This has been so much fun, man. All right. Question number 1. Oh, this again. Rapid fire, 10 questions with Blair Smith. Question number 1. Music, podcasts, audiobooks, silence. Rank them in order of what you prefer most to least when cycling. So again, music, podcasts, audiobooks, silence. Most to least when cycling? Yeah. Music, silence, podcast, audiobook. Oh, very interesting. I would think you were podcast, audiobooks first. I didn't think audiobooks was going to be all the way fourth. No. What kind of music do you listen to? You know what? It's funny. And on my Strava, which is a social network and tracking platform for athletes, for cyclists. Of course, there's one. Of course there is. You got to track our kilometers and everything. I put in whenever I'm doing a ride, I sometimes, if I'm not listening, I'll sing to myself, and I'll think of I've got a theme song for the ride. So in my Strava post, I'll always put a song inspired that specific ride. So I don't actually listen to a certain song. It depends on my mood. I like usually when I'm riding, I like something more upbeat. Like I like hip hop. I'll listen to EDM. Like my get that heart rate synchronized with the beats. My secret obsession is just like
upbeat, poppy, high tempo dance music of
That's it. Some
different
Katy
types.
Perry, get it in there, man. Yeah.
So I don't know about Katy Perry, but any of the, like the DJs and stuff that's what I listen to. So yeah, best song though for pump up and for before race, classic Galvanize, Chemical Brothers and Q-Tip. It's from the mid-90s. That is, man. If you ever want to get pumped up, that is my pump up
and
song.
so many great remixes to that too, right?
So good.
I love
Don't
that,
hold
man.
back. Don't hold back. That's man. Those are the words. It's so good.
Yeah, you might get me cycling again this summer, man. It might be time to just put on a helmet, put in a mouth guard like Steph Curry, and just do it, right?
Go, or just listen to the song. Like that's gonna when you need to get pumped up. Galvanize.
Totally. I'm going to walk home and listen to that. Question number 2.
Yep.
What's your biggest pet peeve as a professor?
When students say, where did you take away marks? Because it assumes that you started out with 100% and I am the victim. And you are the victim that I have somehow robbed
you. Yeah.
So in week 1, I say, look, you're all starting out at 0. There's no curve. You can earn as many marks up to 100%, and in some cases that there's bonuses above that, and go for it. And you're gonna, and wherever you land. So it's this idea that I'm there to take away marks, and you come into a class starting at 100.
What's the thing you love most about being a professor?
Being able to inspire, to help people build their marketing literacy. I think it's an essential literacy for people. I think it's a misunderstood thing. And having the privilege of 120 plus people every semester choose to spend their 15 weeks with me to build their marketing literacy, it's fantastic.
Boom. Amsterdam or Toronto, the better cycling city?
Amsterdam, hands down.
Hands down, huh?
I think we've both been there.
Yeah, recently too.
I'm gonna give a nod to my age. I spent my 40th birthday cycling around the Netherlands.
The best.
And Amsterdam, we flew in late one night, we woke up the next morning, kind of cotton-eyed, got a coffee and breakfast sitting on the street, watching people of all ages and shapes and sizes cycling by on their day-to-day. It was just unbelievable. So
there's a different culture with cycling over there. Like I've seen people in Amsterdam when I went that one time, people were cycling and answering emails like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It's subconscious for them.
And everybody looked good.
Yeah.
It
didn't break a sweat.
No one looked like cyclists. They were dressed amazingly.
No accidents.
And no accident. It all worked. So just as a lifestyle, Amsterdam, hands down.
Now curveball, Amsterdam or Toronto, better food city?
Ooh, it's got to be Toronto. Toronto's got just the multicultural aspect of Toronto. You can get any type of food you want. And really great execution of it. So
Bailey and I were debating this as well, because while we were in Amsterdam, we loved everything that we ate. We were hard pressed to find a Yelp review less than 4.5. But then it dawned on us when we got back to Toronto. Perhaps the state that we were in was informing
your food choices.
Our food choices, And similarly, people who were reviewing things on Yelp were also in a very elated state. So
yes.
I wonder.
But you know what? If I can just play on that, one of the things with the reviews and like TripAdvisor and Yelp, like very rarely anybody gets a bad review. Like everybody puts in the front of their thing. It's like rated 4 on TripAdvisor. Like everybody gets a 4. No one gets 2.
No.
So it's like it's like get rid of all the reviews because they don't mean anything anymore.
Not really.
But
I'm excited to ask you this one. What's the biggest lesson that fatherhood has taught you?
Oh, there's something more important in the world than yourself.
Man, you know what?
For sure.
Every time a father tells me that, I get chills because I know it's going to happen for me, and I know that I can't wait.
It's one of those things you don't know until you're there. And literally, the moment Marlo was born, the switch flipped. Like the week before, you could throw a Sick Kids commercial on the TV, and I'd be like, "Pass the chips, what's going on?"
Yeah.
As soon as Marlo was born, tears.
Oh my goodness.
So it just there's just something really special about what a child brings from that first moment.
Jeez Louise. Which company is most likely to acquire Snapchat?
Which company is most likely to acquire Snapchat?
Facebook tried, didn't happen.
Yeah, it would still be. You know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. Maybe we'll say Microsoft if they want to get into a bit deeper into a more consumer, more populist type of social platform. Be Snapchat. They already own LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be their
top
their
player.
answer.
I was thinking Disney, but you're right. Microsoft. That makes a lot more sense.
Maybe.
What's a game-changing book that everyone should read?
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Mark Manson.
Boom.
It's very actionable. Everybody's going to like it because it's got a nice 4-letter word on it, but I found it was really practical and really got you to think hard about your decisions. And it was all about making decisions. Mm-hmm. Getting rid of stuff, but like you still have to make the decision to get rid of stuff and make the decisions in your life. Absolutely. And that's the blessing and the curse that we have as humans.
Absolutely. We're almost done. Number 8, other than this podcast, of course, what are 3 podcasts that you think everyone should check out?
6 Pixels of Separation, Mitch Joel.
Shout out to Mitch Joel.
Download this show, Mark Fresnell. This is from Australia. It's on media, technology, and culture. Fantastic. And what else am I? You know what? There's a lot of bad podcasts out there that I'm not loving. Those are 2 of my go-tos. What's my wild card that I've added recently?
Any comedy podcasts? Sports podcasts?
You know what? I'm the Minimalist podcast.
Oh shit, the Minimalist podcast. Which one? Do you listen to
the Minimalist? Yeah.
I think Kelly Foss recommended that as well, and I think she's part of that organization. I could be wrong, but
so that's one they're getting. I kind of tuck into every so often, but I like a lot of. I'm kind of a marketing nerd and trying to work on my kind of life stuff. So those are my 3.
Sweet. 9 out of 10. What's the last movie that made you cry?
The Notebook.
Yo, when did you watch it?
A while ago.
You haven't cried since then, dude? I got to hook you up with some real pathos, tear-jerking, heartstring-pulling movies.
No, for sure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Got to make you watch, I don't know, maybe John Wick 3, man. I feel like that's going to be a real tear-jerker, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And dude, you've given us so many great pieces. I don't know why I said what?
Like The Notebook. It's it's like Ryan Gosling's first movie and Rachel McAdams' first movie.
It was like 15 years ago, man. You didn't watch The La La Land?
Oh yeah, I did.
That didn't make you cry? I was a baby in that, dude.
I cry at random little cries. Like I probably cried in the Lego Batman movie for something when he like exposed his vulnerable self for a moment. Like there's little things, but when I literally sobbed.
Yeah, that was Notebook.
Notebook.
You're going through
There's lots of little cries. Sure,
momentary ones. I think the last like sort of ugly cry I had in a movie.
Ugly cry.
Avengers Endgame, dude.
Oh yeah?
Oh, Avengers Endgame. My entire theater was sniffles.
Oh.
I was just like tears flowing down my shirt. Like it was bad, especially that last half an hour. No spoilers, but actually by the time this podcast comes out, like, you should have seen the movie. So I'm not going to say, okay. Kwaku covered his ears. Okay. Let's just say, bring some Kleenex, man. Bring some Kleenex. Blair, man, we did this, man. We did the damn thing. Thank you. This is one of the longest podcasts we've ever done.
My pleasure. Thanks for the
opportunity.
I'm happy. And lots of great questions. I love good questions with good people.
You made up for the time that Adam gifted us. So shout out to Adam. We'll get you back on the podcast, and I'll ask. We'll slow down the pace a little bit. Last question for you in this rapid fire round. You've given us so much over here, but I want to understand what the best piece of advice you ever received was.
It came in the form of cufflinks. Be yourself. I think we talk about social media, we talk about likes, we talk about influencers and trying to emulate other people. And when I was through my career, I've had a bunch of struggles. And early on, one of my first ones, my parents gave me these cufflinks that said "Be yourself," and I still have them beside me on my bed today, and that's it.
Dude, I love that, man. We met maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while. And I remember one of the first conversations we ever had was about how do we brand ourselves online? How do we present ourselves, and how do we show up? And I remember that we were both going through inflection points in our career. You were trying to find your voice. I was in the middle of a voice that didn't quite make sense to me. And it's been just wild to see where we are now. I think that we are both living our lives online in a way that feels true to us. And I think that we both kept each other accountable and honest throughout that time. So I just want to say thank you, man. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
Not just to know you and be a friend and to be a mentee of yours, but just to have you doing the work that you're doing out in the world. It makes me happy knowing that when I'm teaching at Ryerson, I just think, subconsciously, Blair's out there doing the same thing at George Brown, and the world is becoming a little bit of a better place with the few students that we can reach.
Well, likewise, and I'm honored and flattered, and you're a mentor of mine too, one who I look up to. It's funny you asked me a book that is a must read. Read The Burnout Gamble.
Gang, gang.
Hamza Khan. I read that when I was traveling through Croatia and Slovenia this past summer, and
to King's Landing.
it was fantastic there. Yeah, for sure. But I'd heard about burnout. I've never experienced it, but hearing your story and seeing just that hearing about that physical reaction was very eye-opening. It helped me know you in a different way. And then there was lots of really great, very practical tips to help people who might be dealing with the same thing. So thanks for having me here.
Oh, wow.
And I learn from you on a daily basis, trolling you on social.
Dude, I don't know about...
Saving inspirations and stuff. So yeah, you helped me up my game as well. So
oh, man.
The pleasure's all mine, man.
Thank you, man. We should probably change that question. What was the last podcast that made you cry, man?
It's going to be this one.
Before we reach over and grab the Kleenex, what are some projects you've got going on right now? I mean, are you developing any more courses for the CMA?
So right now I'm in execution mode.
Okay, tell me about
launched and are rolling out a content marketing course at George Brown College. Have been working on a digital marketing studio at George Brown College as well. So we're creating a live learning space that's kitted up with software from Hootsuite and Brandwatch, where we can actually bring learning to life.
Wow.
So that's literally happening right now. So those are two big time investments.
Amazing.
And once those are finished, you know what? I'm honestly kind of sorting out what I can allocate some of my time to, probably towards the late summer and fall. But there's a lot of good things happening at the George Brown front that I'm excited about and just right into.
And are we staying local for 2019, or is there going to be a trip like there was last year?
Always try to find time to travel. We're staying local to the very end of 2019, mid-December to mid-January, heading to Vietnam and Vietnam, Thailand, maybe Cambodia, sorting it all out. But
first time?
Yeah, first time.
I'm so excited for you, man.
First time to Southeast Asia.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So, yeah, if you've got any of your followers, any listeners who have tips, especially Vietnam, we're going to spend most of our time there. Or you, I would love ping me, let Hamza know. Please share.
Raf, I know Raf's listening to this as well. He recently got back with his partner doing that exact same trip over there. And he's very much an adventurous dude, just like yourself.
Yep.
I'm sure he can hook you up with some solid recommendations.
Cool.
And he's got a great podcast, and food spots as well. He's got a great podcast. I should connect the two of you as well. It'd be cool to see you get, plugged into that
Awesome.
world, the Canvas series and all the things that he's doing with My Technique. Blair Smith, and where can people follow your adventures online before we sign off?
Yep, for sure. You can follow me. My website is blairaasmith.com. I've got two middle names, so BLAIRAA Smith, SMITH.com, and LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter is at Blair AA Smith as well.
That's it. Any George Brown students listening to this right now, any prospective students, what is your course code? What are the course codes that you're teaching right now? We got to make sure they're making the right choices here.
For sure.
Going to Adam's class, I'm going to come to your class as well.
So it's Digital Media Marketing Postgrad Certificate. The code is B413, and the courses that I teach are Content Marketing, Mark 4022,
Nice.
Social Media Marketing, Mark 1051, And analytics for digital marketing, Mark 4021.
That's it. Do you take attendance in your classes?
So I take attendance the first week because the class list has names as like on driver's license and stuff, but it's not necessarily the names people want to be called.
Gotcha.
So I always cross-reference the list with the name you want to be called, and then that's it. Otherwise, it's up to you. If you're motivated and want to come to class that week, I'm here for you, but I'm not your parent. I'm not here to monitor your time and your learning. It's your decision to choose to want to come there, and I do my best to create the experiences that make you want to show up.
There we go. There you have it, friends. Blair Smith, thanks for doing this, brother. This is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man.
For sure.
Another Fire Ideas into Action episode with a special, insightful guest. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, the grand finale of season 1. Let's do this.
Awesome.
We're out.